The story of the little opossum who went in search of whodunit. Based on the story of the little mole who went in search of whodunit. One day, while Mr. Opossum was being lazy, taking his usual nap, something very strange happened. It was long and brown and smelled terrible. Worst of all, it landed diddly-dab smash right on top of Mr. Opossum's head.
What in the world? Who dared do this on my head?
Asked little Opossum angrily, but being asleep at the time, he didn't wake up in time to see who done it. Mr. Opossum was now on a mission to find who did this on his head. Yep, Mr. Opossum was going to search high and low, leaving no stone unturned. Well, okay, maybe the heavy stones. Mr. Opossum looked around and saw a little red fox asleep in the woods.
Yeah,
Thought the little opossum.
I bet he did it. Did you do this on my head?
He asked the little red fox.
Me? No, not me. I do mine like this.
Plop! A brown blob fell on the ground, but it had pointed ends.
It looked like it could be you, and it smells the same,
said the silly opossum.
Take a closer look,
Said the sly fox.
Okay,
Said the opossum.
the ends are pointed, and it's not as big as the one on my head.
Are you sure it wasn't me?
Asked the fox.
Maybe you should take a closer look,
Said Mr. Fox as he jumped on the opossum's head.
Okay, I believe you,
Said Mr. Opossum as he shook the scat off his nose. Then Mr. Opossum spotted a raccoon up in a tree.
Did you do this on my head?
He asked Mr. Raccoon angrily.
Stand over here so I can see it better,
Said Mr. Raccoon. The silly opossum stood directly under the raccoon, just as the raccoon lifted his tail and said,
Nope, I do mine like this.
By the time the silly opossum realized what was happening, it was too late. Plop! It fell right down on the little opossum's head. After shaking it off his nose and looking at it, he realized it was too dark and was smaller and had berries and seeds, frog bones and crayfish parts inside it. Laughed Mr. Raccoon, who thought it was funny. Suddenly, Mr. Opossum saw a hawk flying overhead. Aha! Now Mr. Opossum knew who did it, since birds scat on everything.
Hey, you! Yes, you! Did you do this on my head?
Nope, not me.
Said the hawk.
I do mine like this.
Oh no!
Thought the silly opossum. But since an opossum can't run very fast, he wasn't able to get out of the hawk's way. After Mr. Opossum shook the scat off his nose, he realized it was much too small and it had a lot of white mixed in with it. So Mr. Opossum was sure it wasn't the hawk who did it on his head.
Right there,
he said to a happy little bunny rabbit just hopping by.
Did you do this on my head?
Me? Oh no, not me,
said the happy little bunny rabbit.
I do mine like this.
Suddenly, the happy little bunny rabbit jumped over top little opossum's head as he let go. Little round pellets began pouring on his head. Poor Mr. Opossum thought it would never end. After the happy little bunny rabbit stopped, Mr. Opossum realized that it wasn't the bunny rabbit that did it on his head, since the rabbit scat was round. The silly opossum thought it looked a lot like his favorite cereal. Then the silly opossum saw a skunk just passing by, minding his own business.
I'll bet he did this on my head.
Mr. Opossum had never seen a skunk before, but he had seen many barnyard cats, so he thought it was just another cat. So the silly opossum followed the skunk to see what its scat would look like.
I'd just sneak up behind him so he can't doo-doo on my nose.
Suddenly the skunk stopped and went to the bathroom. Mr. Opossum wanted to get a closer look just to be sure.
It looked too dark and way too small to be him. And he has a lot of insect parts in his scat.
Suddenly the startled skunk began spraying the silly opossum. Mr. Opossum began to feel sick and dizzy. He said,
Like gag-a-maggot, that stinks.
Poor Mr. Opossum learned the hard way to stay far away from black and white kitty cats. Mr. Opossum looked around for another suspect, but all he saw was a fly buzzing by.
I'll bet she can tell me who did this on my head. Excuse me,
Said Mr. Opossum to the fly.
can you tell me who did this on my head?
The fly tried to land on his head to study the scat, but the silly opossum kept moving around.
Stand still
Said the fly.
so I can study it.
Mr. Opossum said.
That tickles.
Miss Fly said.
You really stink. But no doubt about it, it was a coyote that did this on your head.
A coyote, huh? Aha!
Now Mr. Opossum was sure who did it on his head, and now he was mad, and boy was he going to get even.
Wake up! Hey, wake up! I said wake up! Just who do you think you are? Look at what you did on my head, you big overgrown bag of fleas. What is wrong with you anyway? How would you like it if I did that on your head? Maybe you think this is funny, but I don't. Listen, buddy, you owe me big time and you're gonna pay for this.
Suddenly, Mr. Opossum realized he had awoken a sleeping giant. Forgot why he was so angry at the coyote. As he looked at this huge beast and listened to its ferocious growl, Mr. Opossum began to wish he was anywhere but here. There stood Mr. Opossum with his mouth open wide, too scared to talk or run.
What did I get myself into? Night doggy, night doggy.
Mr. Opossum walked away, realizing that some things are better off just left